Hi, welcome to another episode of Willow Wonderings. I'm so glad you're here. Today I want to start with a quote. There's freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky. And you ask, what if I fall? Oh, my darling, but what if you fly? It's a poem by Erin Hansen. Last week, I was thinking about spring and everything coming in to bloom, all of the birds starting to come around, and we have some bird seed in our bird feeders, and we're just watching the birds come in, and I love seeing the different variety. But have you ever thought about the way that birds learn to fly? If you've ever watched a mama bird teach or even a dad bird, honestly, unless they're brightly colored, I don't honestly know the difference. The birds learn to fly by getting shoved out of their nest. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't personally want to be shoved out of my cozy nest because that's the place that we think we're thriving. We're like, nope, I'm great right here. I don't need to be pushed out of that nest. I can stay cozy, I can stay warm, I can stay with the people or the birds that I'm most comfortable with, and I don't actually need to learn to fly. I can just be here and be safe and be well, and I don't need to learn all of that. But did you know that it takes the older bird about 12 to 21 days from the time that a bird is born to shove that baby out of its nest? 12 days. That's less than 2 weeks. Think about the last 2 weeks, the last 12 days, and what your last 12 days have looked like. I can probably name a handful of the days. Work is an easy thing to be able to track, but the rest of the time, like, I may not be able to think of all of the things that I've been able to do in 12 days or think about what I've done in 12 days. Much less from the time of birth, 12 to 21 days later, I'm being pushed out of my nest, going from my mom feeding me to me hopping around on the ground and trying to figure out, like, how do I get back up there? How do I fly? How do I move from place to place? Like, why are all these other birds just flying around, and how are they getting to all these different places, these cool places, finding food? Like, they have to learn how to do all of that as soon as they're born. And so they're automatically just pushed out of their comfort zone. They're automatically having to embrace the discomfort in order to grow and in order to become what they're supposed to be. All birds, most birds, fly, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's how most of the birds ended up learning how to fly. They come from this way up nest that, their parents took the time to find all of the necessary fibers, all of the necessary things to just start packing in that nest to keep them warm, to keep them safe. And then all of a sudden, less than 12 weeks later, here they go. They're out in the nest. They're out of the nest, and they're just on their own. I remember last spring actually my dogs found them first, but finding some baby birds just hopping around, and they were trying to figure out, what they were doing. And at first I didn't really think about that. I just thought about, where did these birds come from? Did they fall out of the nest? Did they, I don't know why I thought get lost, but, you just try to figure out, like, there's just a bird hopping around in my yard and my dogs want it. So naturally, check to make sure it's not hurt, and then try to get it out of my yard so that the dogs don't eat it and it doesn't get hurt that much more. So talk about some motivation, to start learning how to fly. Talk about motivation under pressure, because honestly, motivation is so fleeting. But determination, dedication, consistency, those things, you don't have to rely on motivation if you're consistent. If you're consistent and you're dedicated to whatever you're putting your mind to, whatever your next step is, whatever your goal is, whatever you're looking to achieve, then you don't actually have to look for motivation. You're passionate enough. You're so passionate about what you want to do and where you want to go, and your goal is set. Your eyes are focused, that you don't have to rely on the fact that I don't feel like it today, because you're consistent and you're dedicated and you're building those steps. So sometimes it may feel like you're set back. It may feel like, oh, I was doing so well. And I mean, I go through this. I go through this quite often where I'm like, okay, I've got my routine. I've got my plan. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly how I want to do it. And then I wake up late, or I sleep through my alarm, or I hit snooze 12 times. You know, we all do it. You know, we all do. But I used to have 3 alarms set. I have 2 alarms set, and they go off every 9 minutes. One is 15 minutes after the other. And sometimes it doesn't honestly matter what time my alarm is set for, because I'll get up on that first one. I get up at 4 a.m. when I get up with my alarm, and 5:30 at the latest when I miss it, because I make myself get up by 5:30. But then I am not as productive through the day. I feel drowsy. I feel like I haven't accomplished as much, and it really just starts taking a toll. But when you're dedicated to what you want to do, and you're dedicated to that schedule, you're dedicated to your routine, no matter what happens, you're going to get the stuff done. And you're going to be able to work towards those goals. You're going to be able to complete what you want to. You're going to be able to accomplish what you want to, instead of pushing deadlines and pushing deadlines and pushing deadlines. And when I say this, I'm also talking to myself. I can think of several things, because I'm a project starter, and projects get finished, but it usually is not as efficiently or not as quickly as I would hope. But when we set our focus on it and we're dedicated to what we want to do, we make a plan, then it's so much easier to stay dedicated, to stay true to what we want. And if it's truly what we want, we'll make it happen. We make things happen when we really want it. And that's the key, is it something that you really want? Are the things that you're focusing on, are the things that you're working towards, are those things that you really want? Then just do it. What's stopping you? What's keeping you from getting out of the nest and just doing it? You don't have to wait 12 days. You can do it now. Do you think the birds are ever ready? Probably not. Would you be ready to just be shoved out of the nest? I know I wouldn't be. I'm cozy. So what's stopping you from just jumping out of the nest and learning to fly? Ask yourself, instead of asking yourself, what if I fall? Change your thought to, what if I fly? Soar high today. Take it into next week. Carry it through the weekend. But soar high.